Hey guys, I'm Eric with Extreme Terrain. Today we're checking out these Barricade HD steel running boards in matte black for all 2007 and later Toyota Tundra Crew Maxes. You should really be checking these out if you are looking for a rugged stepping solution to make it easier to get in and out of your Tundra, along with a little bit of aggressive styling. Now, getting in and out of our Tundras can be a tall enough task all by itself. For some of us, it's a little bit of a physical challenge, and if you've added a lift to your truck, it's even more of a challenge. These side steps from Barricade HD are going to make getting in and out of your Tundra a lot easier. Now, one aspect to this design that is really going to make that getting in and out a lot easier is these stepping pads that are built right onto the running boards themselves. They have these slots in them that are open so that if you are in a muddy situation and you got mud on your boots and you're stepping up on there, that's going to allow the mud to basically pass through the step and allow your shoe or boot to make direct contact with the running board. And on those stepping pads, where those slots are, there's kind of raised edges that are going to grip the tread of your shoe or your boot as well. Now, a lot of Tundras come from the factory without any running boards or side steps installed, and if you're adding those in that situation, you are getting a lot of utility. But what I like about these is, in addition to that additional utility, you are getting aggressive styling with these. I think the angular design mates up well with the overall styling of the Tundra. Some other side steps are kind of like that rounded Nerf bar kind of design. A lot of people like that, but I particularly like the angular design here. I think it gives it a little bit of an aggressive look to your truck. Now, these running boards are made from heavy-duty carbon steel, and they're finished in a durable black satin powder coat. That's going to give it long-lasting life against any corrosion and weathering that you might encounter. And I got to tell you, stepping in and out of the truck using these running boards, it is a very stable platform. I think it's really a heavy-duty quality product. Now, as far as price goes, these come in right now right around $500. That's pretty much middle of the road for running boards or side steps out there for the Tundra Crew Max. You're going to see some that are a little bit more expensive and some that are a little bit less expensive than that. And I think this is a nice sweet spot. It splits the difference between those two extremes, and you get all that utility and styling in that price. Now, as far as the installation goes, I'm giving it a very basic 1 out of 3 wrenches on our difficulty meter. Nothing real challenging here. It's basically just nuts and bolts, and it's going to bolt up directly to factory installed mounting points on your Tundra. The only trick there is just make sure that you clean out those threaded holes if you don't already have a side step in there that you're removing to put these new ones on. You might have some mud or other dirt, or maybe even a little bit of corrosion and some rust kind of caked up in there. Make sure you clean that out so you can thread in your new bolts nice and cleanly. Give yourself about 2 hours to get this job done on both sides, no problem. Let's take a look at the tools we're going to need and go ahead with the installation. All right guys, tools we're using for this installation include electric impact wrench, a 14mm socket, and a 10mm crescent wrench. All right guys, now before we get into the installation, I just want to talk about a couple things as far as installing these new Barricade HD steel running boards. And that is, there are 4 stations or 4 positions that are built into your Tundra where you could drive bolts into to mount these brackets. This kit from Barricade only uses 3 brackets on each side, and we're going to show you where those go in just a moment. But these are position specific, and you need to pay attention to that before you try driving some bolts in. And they're going to be stamped. The one I'm holding here is stamped with the letters DF for driver front. You'll also see DC and DR for driver center and driver rear. And then the corresponding on the passenger side, you'll see PF, PC, and PR. So it basically lays out where the brackets go. Not really a big deal. So go ahead and grab your 14mm socket, and we're going to start mounting these up. All right guys, now we're underneath the driver front position here. So grab your DF bracket. This one's most noticeable because the holes are a little bit further apart, and you'll notice that on your bracket as well. So grab 2 bolts, flat washers, and lock washers. We're going to go ahead and tighten that up. You're going to need a 14mm socket for this hardware. As we go along, guys, you can adjust these a little bit, so if you find that the alignment isn't quite right, you can always loosen these and adjust it as you need. So let's go ahead and move on down the line. All right, now grab your DC bracket. We're at the 2nd position down. All right guys, now use the DR bracket here. We're at the position that's all the way closest towards the back of the cab. All right guys, now before I set the step onto the brackets that we just mounted, I just want to point out a couple quick things, in that these side steps are side specific. And the instructions lay this out pretty well, but I just want to kind of tell you what the instructions say also, is that the way you can tell which side they go on is that you're actually looking at this kind of backwards right now. This is the front, because I'm going to turn and I'm going to set this down. Now this little gap here between the end and this kind of step pad right here that it's raised and has a nice texture on it for traction, this space here is narrower than this one here. The wider space is going to go towards the back. That's how you know which side these belong on. I have the driver's side one here in my lap. The other thing I want to point out is how the mounting system works. You have, for each side step, you've got 3 of these brackets, and there's a track right here that you're going to slide this in. You can just kind of turn it sideways and then put it in like that. And each one of these brackets has 2 threaded posts. These are going to line up with the slots on the brackets that we just mounted. And then we're going to mount up some lock washers, flat washers, and nuts on the bottom and bolt it up. And that's going to clamp the step to the bracket. So let's go ahead and go on. All right guys, now we're back underneath the truck. We've set the side step on these brackets, and as you can see, it sits there nice and easy, making this a really easy aspect to the install. I really appreciate that kind of design. Now I just put the bracket in here like this with our threaded posts, and I'm just gonna lift up on this just a little bit and slide it in there. Then go ahead and grab the hardware out of your kit. You've got flat washers and lock washers to go along with a nut for each one of these posts. These are just standard nuts. They're not nylon locking nuts, so you should just be able to thread them up pretty far with your fingers, and then we'll tighten them down here with a 10mm crescent wrench here in a second. All right guys, now we loosened our hardware that we just tightened up at the driver front, and I recommend dropping in all 3 of these brackets before you go tightening anything up, but you can start your hardware again, flat washer, lock washer, and a nut. All right guys, now check the alignment of your side step and then go ahead and tighten down these nuts. So once you have the alignment you like as far as front to back and how far out the step is, go ahead and tighten everything down, again using a 10mm wrench. All right, so go ahead and repeat everything we just showed you on the driver's side over on the passenger side of your truck. And that pretty much wraps up this review and install of this Barricade HD steel running boards in matte black for all 2007 and later Toyota Tundra with the CrewMax cab. And for all things Tundra, keep it right here at ExtremeTerrain.com.